April 2006. I start my very first job at Dimension Data. And on our very first day, there's this one gentleman. And this man is just gorgeous. No, have you ever seen a gorgeous man? But he's a gorgeous Xhosa man. And he's oozing confidence and he's oozing courage and he's walking in this building and I'm like, this man is walking into this building. He is walking into this building and I'm just standing there. And we're a bunch of new recruits and they call our names and they omit his. And he says, but somebody called me to come here because I'm supposed to be here. And nobody can find who called him. So they're all frantic trying to find who called this guy to be here today. And they can't find him. But as fate would have it, somebody dropped out. And so they call this man and they say, okay, you know what? You can start. Start with everybody else and we'll catch you up. We'll get you all the details afterwards. And that's the day I met my Tato, the man that would be the father of my children. Tato was just so handsome to me, but he was nothing I was looking for. You have to remember this. Now, I am not into the light-skinned, fix yourself in the mirror type of man. I like them rugged and dark and tall, but this man was light and short and everything that I did not want in a man. He didn't represent what I wanted physically in a man, but his courage and his smart, his sarcasm, his weirdness attracted me to him. And I was stuck like glue. I had a crush on my very first day. It also didn't help the fact that we were told to wear formal clothes, and this man was in like a jeans and a top, and he was like, I'm doing this. And I was intrigued, and for 3 weeks I looked and I watched and I watched and I watched, and I was like, I'm gonna get him. That's my guy right there. So 3 weeks later, out of the blue, of course I've been having conversation with the man. Of course I have. But out of the blue I say, let's go get breakfast. The man says yes. And that's how the journey began. What I did not know though is that, or what I found out later, is that Tato, my Tato, had an inside source of who's starting on that day, that there will be new recruits from somebody in the business who was already there. And her name was Tato. His Tato. The ex. Anyhow, our journey began and we had fun. We traveled, we had fun. We drove a nice old Beetle. It was green and it was old, which you get stuck between places that we don't even know where we were. But it was a beautiful journey, and 6 years on, we got married. 6 years, 2 children later, a girl for him and a boy for me, and we were happy. We got married in a very lavish wedding. No, don't get me wrong. It was a garden wedding. We bought fresh flowers to a garden wedding. That's where we were. Yeah. We were living it. I mean, guys, the champagne, darling, was going crazy. The chef, not the caterer, the chef was on point. We were having the time of our lives. I mean, guys, the photographer was white. My grandmama was in shock. Really now. It was beautiful, you know? As I walked through the bridge and my dad had me in his arm and I was saying, Daddy, I'm not ready for this. He said, but baby, we're here. And we walked towards the aisle. Beautiful. It was the first time ever that my Tato gave me a second glance. You know that glance that you look like, yeah, did I just see that? That's the glance he gave me. We got married in 2012, September 24. Public holiday things, because that's how we roll. In July of 2016, we bought our home. And when I say home, I don't mean like home. I mean home. Okay, 3 garages, cottage at the back, 2-bedroom cottage at the back, by you. It was a house. A Wendy house, the pool, 2,500 square meters of bliss. My home. I used to aerial view that house on Google Maps just to see it's mine. Yeah, that one's mine. That is my house, guys. it was bliss, you know. My career's taking off, his career's taking off. Introduce yourself, I'm a manager. Introduce yourself, I'm a manager. Yes. Careers were taking off, 2.5 kids because we just had another one. Because you need to add on, you know. Luyanda, you must add on to the family. That's my last child's name. And we are in marital bliss. 6 November 2016. It started out like just any other day, except I was in my big ass kitchen. And yes. And I was fixing food for my family, because classes eat you. I was fixing food for my family for the next 3 days because, you know, I'm a career woman. I need to plan ahead. I'm about planning. I come to things early. I'm one of those. I analyze things. And a war of words arose between myself and my tato. And at that moment, when he first hit me, when he put his hands on me for the very first time, I lay on our heated floors looking at our watch, and all I could hear in my mind was the words, the song from Aretha Franklin, Ever-Changing Times. That's all I could hear. And as he pulled my hair and slammed me against the wall, and as he pulled my hair and slammed me against the floor, the heated floor that I worked so hard for, I could not believe it. You see, my tato was telling me how awful I am as a wife and how disgusting I am and how much he regrets having married me. Because my tato said that on our wedding day, he SMS'd his ex, tato, to tell her that it should have been her on that day that he marries. My tato was telling me that I am useless, that no man will ever find me attractive, that I disgust him so much that any man who would see me naked would throw up. That was my tattoo on that day. And my tattoo then said that my mother, my whore of a mother, who had me when she was 16, that was my tattoo. And as this war of words escalated and he was beating on me, and he threw me out of this house that I worked so hard for. I worked every single day for this house. I got irritated by clients. I ignored his lame ass 2-minute sex for this house. I went through his bickering mother for this house. I went through his nauseating family for this house. I went through so much for this family that I had built with my tato. For him to tell me that tato was his first preference to begin with. My tato threw me out of our house. So that electric door that I wanted, that electric gate that I wanted, I was on the other side, guys. I was on the other side. And as I stood there with my back against this gate, every single thing that I've worked for was behind me. My kids, my life, even the suitcase that brought me to Joburg 12 years ago was in that house. Every single waking moment, every dream, every single thing that I had was in that house that my tato now has chased me out of. So I stood there with 2 bags and my laptop bag, because a girl's got to work, right? And I stood there, and I had to make a decision. Because you have to make a decision, right? You have to make a decision, because when you're in that situation, they tell you, when you're out of the situation, actually, they tell you, if it happens for the first time, it's going to happen again. And once you go back the second time, don't think you're going to come back alive. So I made a decision. I made a decision to be homeless. And so I walked away with my 2 bags and my laptop bag. And I started to rebuild, guys. You rebuild, and you rebuild, and you walk, and you keep walking, and you just keep walking, and just keep going, and you just keep going. 2 years later, 13 July 2018, it's my birthday. It's the 13th. I'm celebrating with myself with a glass of wine. Still homeless, mind you. Yes, I'm the richest homeless person I know. Still homeless, and I'm sitting there. And I told you, I live my life in song, Jill Scott, Aretha Franklin, and I hear the words of the song Epiphany. And I've realized for the first time in 12 years actually, since meeting my tattoo, that I was actually the side chick all along. But life is good, guys. Life is good because as soon as you make a decision, you need to live with it, and you need to go with it, and you need to love it. And guess what? I've been loving my life ever since. I've been loving my life so much. I travel. I laugh out loud, not lol, out loud. Guys, life is good in my homelessness. And every day, I wake up and I keep walking. Thank you.
Hadithi, Hadithi! Hadithi, Hadithi!